We bring you good tidings that you cannot refuse. It's Christmas morning, December 25, every year, and it hasn't been shifted. Not likely it will be shifted. It's always December 25. So, Merry Christmas. Just like the angel came, and delivered the good news to Mary, that you shall, be divinely endowed from behind, from above. And of course, you will conceive of a son. It will be a part of the divinity. In fact, his divinity himself. And of course, his name shall be called Jesus, Emmanuel, Wonderful Counselor, the Savior of the world, the Prince of Peace. And of course, that peace is what we bring for you. Good tidings that you cannot refuse. A Christmas morning. Merry Christmas. And this is Morning Spring special Christmas edition of this program, December 25, 2025. You are welcome. And in the spirit of the season, I welcome you. In fact, we'll welcome you. Femi Ojo is my name. And the lady in red welcomes you as well. Good morning, Tope. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. When you were saying a special Christmas, what came to my head was service.
Service.
Yes, and when you said
well, it's a service unto the nation.
Yes. Yeah. A beautiful morning to you. It's first a beautiful morning.
Right.
First a beautiful day in December. And today is Christmas. It's a special day that has been set aside by the Christian faith to celebrate the birth of our Savior and Lord Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
I welcome you to Morning Spring today. This is where we say things as it is. We present it to you as it is. No thick, no, it's just originality.
Yeah, no holds barred.
Yes. My name is Temitope Adejola Oluola, and because today is Christmas, I wish you a very Merry Christmas. Welcome to Morning Spring today.
Of course, Morning Spring Christmas edition, that's what it is. And the song will say, what's my business with Christmas? Because of the situation of the town, the nature of what is going on in the town, and the economic crunch and all of those things. But then the message about Christmas is that of hope, is that of faith, is that of believing, is that of deliverance, is that of redemption. That's why Jesus was prophesied since the days of the prophet Isaiah, that his son will be born, a child. A child will be born, his son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. So it was more like a hope, something you are waiting for. And finally, it came to pass. And we hope that will resonate with the people in power, especially the government of the day that came to power on the heels of hope. They called it renewed hope. It was Hope 93 for Abiola that he materialized. Of course, 20 or 30 years later, it was the turn of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who talked about renewed hope. So the hope in the Bible that was given materialized. We hope. In fact, that's the word, pun intended. We hope that hope will bring prosperity, not explained prosperity. You know what I'm saying? Not the hope that needs to be explained to you, or the prosperity that needs to be explained to you that
you have it.
The one I can feel myself, of course, and it's a season of sharing. As well. It's a season of love. Whatever. You don't have to be a Dangote or an Alakija to share love, to the best of your intention and your pocket. Of course, that's the way it is. And so to anybody watching us, possibly from hospital beds in which the festivity is none of your business for now, you just want to get well, we bring you that hope that things will get better from here. You won't die. You will live, hopefully, by the grace that this season holds. And of course, people in captivity who possibly doesn't even know which day, for people in abductors then that have possibly they've been there for some time. Some of them don't even know which day of the week it is. We hope something will happen that will bring them that deliverance. And for security agencies, everybody, we wish you a Merry Christmas. And this is the time for rhetorics of the politicians. They're already speaking in the spirit of the season. Of course, you can guess. Love yourself, forgive yourself.
Preach unity, oneness. You know, that was contained in the message of the president to the nation as well, talking about oneness and the spirit of togetherness. Tolerance. Yes, that was what he said. Talked about cohesion and all of these things. Well, those are good words. Those are good statements to make to people, because that's what we ought to be hearing around, you know, this period and even other days of the year, and you know, as year goes and comes. And do not forget that Jesus was born in a manger, and that means that he came in a very lowly form, and that means it's a message of hope to everyone, whether you're in the prison, you're in the forest, or you're on the borders and the shoreline, you know, minding the affairs of state. Wherever you are today, you can be happy. Jesus was, Mary and Joseph, they were very happy with even the lowly state, you know, where they were, because they had that message of hope himself with them. And that's what you should carry today. Share love today. You do not have to give material things. Give a smile, give a helping hand. All of those things are messages of hope to a person or two out there, and to even yourself. You know, when you help people, you're happy. Yes, it gives you a sense of fulfillment, and that's what the spirit or the season is about. All right, we talk about that in the course of the program today, the significance of the season, especially at a time like this. Actually, so much to really talk about. And just like you said, I said, and you alluded, and the politicians are already speaking to the aspire, to aspire, to fire, and Maguire. Some of those things that you can easily say, even when they won't do a bit of it. And when it's time to use the same religion to scatter people, they know how to do that, because that's what you say. Oh, it's my brother. That one is behaving that way because it's not of our faith, and politicians know how to do this. I hope Nigerians will one day see through these divisive, tactics and the shenanigans of, very terrible politicians, in which we have many of them across political parties, across regions, and of course, in our nation. We should do better. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we will let you aid into the front pages of the newspapers. Once again, drums rolls. Merry Christmas.
Our comedy is winning fans globally, but we are losing our wildlife to illegal bushmeat, and this is not funny at all. If we continue this way, we will risk losing all our animals and leaving nothing behind for the generations to come. Tell your family and friends not to buy or sell illegal bushmeat, because protecting nature protects us all.
Right, we can start these headline segments on this Christmas Day with Christmas messages from the Punch newspaper. Christmas messages. Tinubu governors preach unity. NLC rejects unfair taxation. Tinubu governors preach unity. NLC rejects unfair taxation. With the rider, Khan urges security consciousness. Phuket requires killings. Nigerians lament despite food price crash. Right, whatever is called crash, I'm not sure if that is a food price crash. If we talk about reduction, yeah, maybe that's true, right? But when you talk about crash, that means if something is crashing, that means it's being sold for 1,000 naira, and now it's being sold for maybe 600 naira or 700, and that's a crash. But when something is being sold for 1,000 naira and is now being sold for 950, 900, is that a crash? I think we should be wary of the use of words. All right, and below that you have the picture of the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, of course, in a tete-a-tete with the ambassadorial designate, talking about Jimoh Ibrahim there. All right, below that, tax agency can't debit accounts without court order. Tax agency can't debit accounts without court order. Oyedele, I think this is more like allaying the fears of some Nigerians about some of those concerns about the tax laws, especially these harmonized versus gazetted versions of the tax laws. Now, many feared trapped as fire got Lagos Plaza. Many feared trapped as fire got Lagos Plaza. And 4 killed, 14 injured in Borno mosque bombing. That's a terrible one. And that happened on a Christmas Eve yesterday. 4 killed, 4 injured, 14 injured rather, in Borno mosque bombing.
There was a case of a suicide bomber there.
Now, which shows, right, that when it comes to insecurity, right, nobody, no sane person should think because some persons chant some versions of the Quran or because they come on that front of being Muslims, and I want to say this carefully so it's not taken out of context, that because some persons appear to be favorably disposed to a particular religion, especially Islam, that doesn't mean they are your friends. This has happened in a mosque. So it shows that there is more like, you know, when terrible things happen in the neighborhood and it takes the house of the community chairman, the vice chairman, and you are there saying, it's not in my area. And because they speak your language, some of those things that they say before they go on these things, they are on rampage in your neighborhood and say, it's not my business. By the time they are done with everybody in that community, who will be next? You will be next. At that point, nobody will be available to help you. You know, that's easy. And so they will spend some time, wreak so much havoc because that person is helpless. What am I saying? Nobody should think because those persons, they chant some things and some versions of the Quran, they wave some flags that are having an Arabic inscription, and you think they belong or they are favorable to you. They are not. Criminals are criminals. Although there are some killings that might be religious, inclined, we can't take away that part, just like the conversation of genocide or targeted killings against some religion. But then my point exactly is this morning is criminality is criminality. And don't think because they speak my language, that's another thing. You are sympathetic to their cause. The time that they will come for you, nobody will be available to help you. It's as terrible as that. LP crisis. Abure wants OT against parallel convention. And corruption masking God's blessing on Nigeria. EFCC chair. Corruption masking God's blessings on Nigeria. What exactly is this supposed to mean? Yes, the chair. You are there to check the corruption. I think the EFCC chair should stop being a motivational speaker at this time. You are not there to motivate people. You are there to check to the best of your ability corruption and to, make it not full-blown in as much you have the mandate. Right. And top strip MDAs underfunded by 15 trillion naira in 3 years. So much for renewed hope. And NNPC, 12 others fail ICPC integrity test. NNPC, 12 others fail ICPC integrity test. And JAPA, Nigerian nurses practicing in UK hit over 16,000.
Wow.
Nigerian nurses practicing in UK hit over 16,000.
That's just the career.
In UK. Practicing. And possibly we should expand it for that to say there are some nurses that are of Nigerian descent that possibly have been in the UK and they are not even practicing. Because many persons, by the time they get there, maybe due to one thing or another, they might not practice nursing again. Meaning 16,000 of potential Nigerian nurses are offering their services in the UK. So what does that speak to the general hospitals that we have here, to the maternity centers, the grade A, the grade B, the way they call them, primary, secondary, and tertiary health institutions? We are talking about nurses, not even doctors.
And that's what I was saying, that's just a part, that's just a particular career. Yeah. What about engineers? What about tech guys? What about doctors, like you said, teachers? All that career, people. Especially the tech guys. Right there.
Because that's why you are having, there was a period, I think last year, while it was, tech guys, the good thing about them is you can even practice almost from anywhere, remote service and all of those things. You will recall in 2023, 2024, there was, I think it has improved a bit now, issues with online banking. And I spoke with some, tech analysts, who said many of the good tech guys in Nigerian banks, they have jackpot.
Yeah.
And so they are left with maybe interns.
It's a very lucrative skill over there.
Are you kidding me? While you are here, you are being paid 200,000, 300,000.
You're making a lot.
If God is not helping you, you can get kidnapped by a bandit. All of whatever you have worked for will be swiped away. Somebody is being paid in dollars. Whatever you're earning in a month can be paid in few hours.
Yeah.
Here, and these are some of the issues. And it's not looking like it's abating. It's not looking. In fact, if there is anybody now, if you take the census of maybe, let's say medical personnel, either doctor, nurses, or radiographers, or all of those people, let's say 5 out of every 10 is either they are still working their ways or the money is not yet complete. It's as easy as that. In fact, if you are given the date, if you go for consultation at the hospital and you are told to come back in 3 months by a particular doctor, by the time you are returning the next 3 months,
maybe another
there's probability that you might not be that same doctor. Even consultants are leaving. And it's now being left to house officers. The people that will train them are the consultants, they are leaving. The registrars, they are leaving. So you are left with one NYSC fresh guy as house officer. And that guy is even still finding money to move away from the system as well. All right, that will be all, but it's a terrible, terrible one. House begins the tax laws probe and Dume pushes for suspension. That will be all from the Punch.
All right, let's check out the face of The Guardian. The Guardian brings you good tidings, saying Merry Christmas to you all. And so on The Guardian newspaper, the banner headline says, Power crisis lingers into Christmas as output averages 3,000 megawatts. That is on page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. And just above that, PDP leaders move to reconcile factions, set up caretaker committee. That's on page 3. Right there beside that, still on page 3, Tinubu sets up APC committee to heal rifts and mobilize party ahead of 2027. Well, the same thing from the two leading political parties right there. And then moving for the same thing. All right, beside that, again, on page 7, article accuses Tinubu of defying Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy. Right. Below that, as this shock as Kano Assembly loses 2 members within minutes. That is on page 29 of The Guardian newspaper. And there's a picture right there of the the power lines there saying 13,625 megawatt capacity national grid crashes to 3,000 megawatts. And right here, NISO promises restoration within 48 hours, days after Scraver's Lagos gas pipeline explosion. And here again, 1,229 megawatt idle in Q2, says report. And this weather alert here says severe weather alert. Lagos, Nigeria, that's saying excessive heat, severe heat throughout the week. That's from Google Weather. It's saying 32-degree Celsius right there. It's going to be high tomorrow. And what it will feel like, 40 degrees Celsius there. All right, below that, to the bottom strip of the paper now. Growing opposition threatens January implementation of tax laws. And besides that, Christmas Eve tragedy, many fear dead as IED explodes in Borno Marks. That's on page 2. ASU, federal government reach truce as union accepts 40% pay increase. That's on page 4 of The Guardian. And to the lower strip of the paper, MDAs may forfeit funds over non-compliance with financial reporting rules. That's on business page 6 right there. Business page 15 of The Guardian newspaper. And those headlines making the face of The Guardian newspaper this morning.
All right. From there, The Guardian newspaper will move to the next, which will be the Daily Trust, screaming, on a very, or rather sad note, 5 killed, 35 injured in Borno mosque bombing. Daily Trust has that. 5 killed, 35 injured in Borno mosque bombing. Terrible tales there. And below that, you have the picture of people shopping for Christmas. And these are some of those things happening at this time. The Daily Trust has that. Daily Trust newspaper. All right. And you can see here, there is that popular local market. The ones, some call it first grade market, some call it bend and select, whatever it is. Just do you. I think that's it. Yeah. Whatever people are picking up here, right? Make it clean, iron it if you have power, and be confident. Of course, be hopeful. That's all, actually, because either it's designer from France or New York, or is the one beside your house. Life is for the living. That's it. All right. And Christmas, worship centers on security watch. Worship centers on security watch. Yuletide, cheap food, low patronage. Yuletide, cheap food, low patronage. All right. And when people are talking about cheap food, I think the vegetables, the tomato, the pepper, and all of those things, it's not part of those things that are cheap in the last 3 days that I'm aware of. Right. Maybe because of the demand for it. And, whatever it is, ASU, federal government finalized a renegotiated 2009 agreement. ASU, federal government finalized a renegotiated 2009 agreement. And visa ban threatens Nigeria-US passengers traffic. Visa ban threatens Nigeria-US passengers traffic. And how 2 Kano lawmakers died same day. How 2 Kano lawmakers died same day. That's tragic. An NLC to Nigerians, reject the distorted tax law. Now, NLC to Nigerians, reject the distorted tax law. And 41 properties worth 212.8 billion naira traced to Malami. EFCC, 41 properties worth 212.8 billion naira traced to Malami.
Well,
all right. It's but by the way, at best, is allegations actually.
Wow.
But then one way easily connect it with those properties linked with former CBN governor Gordon Emefiele. 740 blocks of duplexes actually, were linked to him, and this one is just 41 properties allegedly.
All right.
Allegedly.
Well, he himself, his son, and some others have been caught in the web of the allegation. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We hope that the probe, results in proper actions, constitutional, lawful actions taken there. And then besides that, just add something. I mean, the headline, NLC to Nigerians reject the distorted tax law. Some days ago, we spoke about, this and the purported gazetted laws and the law that was, the harmonized law that was assented to. And then we had, a lawyer who was talking about, this. But then for, the Nigeria Labour Congress to be saying to Nigerians to reject the distorted tax law, especially with the weight they pull in the country, that is so much of a statement. But we'll be saying how weighty it is, what it purports again, because when things, when they say that when you begin to drum, on the same spot, hit the drum on the same spot, then that probably is something that you are trying to get out of it. So we'll be seeing again what this means. And then also on the same, or not the same paper, on the one I took earlier on The Guardian, where it was said here, growing opposition threatens January implementation of tax laws. But we had a lawyer who says even the executive do not have the power to stop the implementation of this. We'll be seeing how this goes,
because it's law.
Yeah, expressing, or interpreting these laws.
Right. You're next.
All right, those are the headlines on the papers from the Daily Trust newspaper today. I'll be taking a breather. When we return, we get into the analysis part, the conversation. Stay with us.